What is your health worth to you? As the saying goes, health is wealth. The more you invest in it, the more it pays you back. One of the best investments you can make in your health is a membership with our sponsor, Zoe. Over 100,000 people rely on Zoe's personalized nutrition program to make smarter food choices every day. The program starts with at-home tests to help you understand your body's unique responses to food and the good and bad microbes in your gut. I recently got my results and it was enlightening. From your test results, you get a personalized report on what foods work for your body. Then your Zoe app assigns scores to food and meals to help you make the healthiest choices. I am loving Zoe. With my personalized report, I feel empowered to make the smartest food choices for my body. I feel healthier already, and it's only been a matter of weeks. Don't just take my word for it. In a randomized controlled trial, Zoe members who participated in the study saw positive changes to their gut microbiome, waist circumference, and energy levels. So I ask again, what is your health worth to you? Go to Zoe.com and take their free quiz to find out what Zoe membership could do for you. Listeners to this podcast can use the code STYLE10 to get 10% off their membership. That's Zoe.com. Use the code STYLE10 at checkout. And by the way, as you're clearly a podcast listener, you should go and check out their show, Zoe Science and Nutrition. It's great. Today, I'm going on a style journey with entrepreneur, celebrity influencer, presenter, and media personality, the exquisite Rosemin. Hello and welcome, Rosemin.
Thank you for having me. I don't know if the viewers can see how beautiful London is. Like, what a view.
What a view. What a summer.
Summer, yeah. That too. It was been raining a lot.
I've taken to wearing my caftan over my jeans because I've just got to wear it at some point.
Exactly, right?
But I didn't realize that you were spending more and more time in London. So
I am. I think London's always been home. My dad went to school here and grew up here. And so London's always been really a part of my life. And of course, I went to fashion school here from 18 onwards. So London has always had a soft spot for me.
Yeah. But we first met in Dubai in 2018 when you hosted that fantastic dinner for me with all your girlfriends, introducing them to my brand.
I want to say I introduced them, but honestly, what was so special about that dinner was that so many of my girlfriends came in wearing your dresses from different collections. And I love that. And I love that I can ask first of all, I know my friends' taste. So I knew that everyone I chose to be at that dinner with us, love fashion and are very elegant like you. But I love how everyone styles fashion, and adds their kind of own personal kind of edge and touch to it. So for me, that dinner was so much fun because it was just a great group of ladies, but it was also very well-dressed ladies.
Very.
In Wakeley.
But you're so right. Everyone had, and that's what I loved about when I was a designer, is that people individualizing their looks, and that to me is far more special than someone who's absolutely dressed head to foot. Yeah, in a brand. But it was a very, very special moment. That.
Thank you.
But I'd love to start by talking a little bit about your business, RR & Co.
But I used to call myself the accidental entrepreneur. Went to fashion school.
I like that.
Yeah, but went to fashion school here, London. It was, I think, University of Arts now, but it was London College of Fashion. Graduated in luxury management, fashion management, specializing in luxury. And by second year university, I got headhunted by Tom Ford, and I couldn't leave university. I had to finish my degree because my parents had worked very hard to send me here. And I started interning in the press office, and I handed in my dissertation a year later on a Thursday, and I was working in Mr. Ford's office on Monday morning, and my life changed. Yeah, it was the most incredible experience to be with him, like literally his desk, his PA, and then myself. And to be in that environment where you're, and I say this all the time, and I say it to him as well, is that I learned more from him than I did in university.
And you must have been, 22?
I was 22 then, working in his office. And it was honestly exciting, but for me to see how people manage, brand management, like I learned so much from him. just the way he was so decisive. And so a lot of the leadership skills and the people I was around then, it was actually just a great time to be there, because it was when Alessandro McHale was there. It was Frida Giannini. It was John Ray, Peter Hawkins, who's now the new creative director. Whitney was my boss. So it was such an incredible time to be at Gucci Group then. And so I learned a lot from him. I moved to Milan for a year, joined the design team as an assistant with them, came back, and I remember my dad going, okay, you love fashion so much, but he's like, Rosemin, you love it way too much, because every time your paycheck comes, you're like back in the store shopping. So I was like, and I felt I really was so lucky to learn from the best. Like, what an incredible first boss to have.
Incredible, and such a brilliant brand orchestrator. I mean, the way he touched every element of that brand.
And that's what I always tell, like, even now when I speak to students, being a creative director is a very different job than being a designer. A creative director touches every point, from, managing your teams, designing, overseeing everything, being responsible for everything that goes out, everything from the bags to the color, the makeup, the hair. Like, it is such a different job than just being a designer. And I think a lot of times when you see this transition of, all the big design houses, when they're changing designers quite frequently, it's because they're not prepared for, it's such a big role to fill.
It's enormous. And now in this world where social media is just so hungry and so powerful, I mean, that's a whole other thing. When I started my business in 1990, there wasn't an internet, and there was no such thing as social media. It was a whole different way of communicating.
I was interning in the Gucci press office, faxing the reviews to Mr. Ford.
And were you top to toe Gucci when you were working there?
Yeah, I think at that point, we kind of had a uniform of like, not uniform, but like, it was kind of like that look of like jeans, heels, chic blazer. I mean, to be honest, he does great suiting. So I love his trousers. Like for me, I could live, I still do. Like I live in his suiting. Even now, I just bought the gold suit that Peter Hawkins designed for this collection. Like I just love, like, to me, his tailoring's great. But going back to your original question, like I came back to London, I got headhunted again to launch Juicy Couture. And I thought what a great challenge. And
launch in the UK.
All of the Middle East. So it was the first office outside of America.
Right.
And so, they had their office in LA and New York. It just got acquired by Liz Claiborne. It was valued at $1 billion in early 2000s. And they hired myself, another lady who was based in UK as a GM, and they brought one other girl as the kind of office manager to London. And she came from the Juicy background, so she really understood it. My job was really to, I want to say, rebrand it, but in a nice way, getting the right people wearing it, because everyone just knew them for their tracksuits. And when I entered the brand,
with Juicy across the bum.
Juicy. But what they were doing at that point, they were adding all these categories, like men's ready to wear, cutlery, plates, perfume. Like it was like a whole other world, baby. And so, and I think the other thing, working with Tom, my eye had been very well trained. Like I can look at someone going, okay, I know this is going to look great on you. Started doing a lot of the seeding, from everyone from like a Kate Moss to like Queen Rania to all kind of these contacts that I had, Gwyneth Paltrow, Princess Beatrice, like all of them were just wearing the ready to wear just because there was no logo on it, but it was just kind of cool, easy, comfortable. And I think that was kind of my pivotal moment in the sense where people started asking who I was, because in American Vogue, it was pictures of Kate, these paparazzi shots of Kate Moss, and she wasn't wearing these high-end designer sunglasses. She was wearing Juicy Couture. She was wearing the Gucci, a Juicy trench coat and not Burberry at that point. Like there was just all these like photographs, and everyone's like, who is like getting these clothes on her? But it was also that at that point, we call it influencer seating now. Like back then, it wasn't that. It was like these celebrities. But I just had a really good eye of what would suit kind of these celebrities that were going out.
And so would you just send?
Yeah, I would send, but very, like, I wouldn't just give them boxes. I was like, okay, this would look great. Curate it. And I was like, this would look great. Or, I know she would look great in this, or X, Y, and Z. And I started having these like really kind of pivotal moments. And I remember, a lot of headhunters started calling me because like they were like, how did you get Juicy on, X, Y, and Z, or like at this party when people would be like, what are you wearing? And they're wearing like a Juicy kind of maxi dress. And so people were like, who is this girl? So I started getting a lot of interest because everyone's like, how are you doing this? But it was all, I guess it's just because I had that eye. And I think celebrities get so much stuff that if you're not selecting really carefully, then it just goes to waste.
It just all gets given away. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's costing the brand money, right? It's not like it's free. It's like someone's paying for this, supply chain before it goes to the celebrity. And I remember my kind of pivotal moment was I opened Vanity Fair, and it was the Hall of Fame. You know how they do the Hall of Fame for the best dress? And it was Queen Rania of Jordan, and she was the Hall of Fame. And they do an interview with her. And the photo of her, like the candid street style shot of her, was wearing Juicy and Saint Laurent. And it was when like that she used to custom order from Mr. Ford's office because she wanted, a little bit more modest, like lower in the knee. And so I was like, this is awesome. Like, like a picture of an outfit that I worked on with her is kind of her key look. And then in the interview, she talks about her style, and they said, what's your favorite piece of clothing? And she goes, Juicy Couture long sleeve shirt. I literally,
That's
mouth
gold.
dropped. Yeah. It was gold because she could have said any big designer. She could have said anyone. And because I was working with her, all her, like holiday cards and, thank you messages were all her and her family wearing the same Juicy shirt with the little, it was like a little teddy bear, I think. And, cutting the kids' cakes.
I remember that image.
This is someone who could wear anything. And so for her, and she was like, it's long sleeve, super comfortable, covers the hips. And I was like, this is pretty cool. Like, it was kind of these aha moments along your career. And then after that, worked with Patrick Cox, who I love. He was really sweet. Did a little bit of advisory with him. And
in the UK still?
In the UK. I just took some time off after Juicy, did a little bit of it, like consultancy with him. I was about to join Dior, go for the interview, amazing PR role that had come up. And at that point now I was like, okay, I want to have a stable career. I want career growth. And life just takes a turn. I used to go to Dubai quite a bit and been on holiday because the weather was good. And I'd go on the weekends, get some sun, come back. And I remember going there. We'd gotten a house on the Palm and it was being built. And I remember my father going, listen, can you just go, like, it's the summer before like all the fashion shows start. Can you just go there and just check what's like, just make sure everything's on, like the tiles are good, like everything's working. And so as much as I was kind of going back and forth to see this house, I started looking at the market because I was there for more than 3 days.
And what year was that?
And this was in 2007.
Yeah.
In 2007, I went there, and I just had time. Like I was planning on being there for like 2-3 weeks, and I started really understanding the market. And when you see something not on a beach holiday and you're actually seeing the city, I was like, wow, it's really developing. There's a financial center going to be open. And I would walk into these stores. And at that point, a lot of my ex-colleagues from Gucci Group have now gone to different brands. Like we'd all kind of gone to different brands. And they started calling me and going, Rosemin, would you mind going into this brand and just go get a pair of shoes. Just tell me, like, does she know what the name of the bag is? Does she know how to explain the leather? What does the buy look like? And it came down to that I had a really good eye for knowing what was commercial, what was editorial. And I just had a really good eye. I could look at a whole collection in the merchandising showroom and be like, okay, this is what's going to sell, or this is what's not. And I contribute, like, I give that credit to Mr. Ford because I learned that from him. And so I started doing that, and my name started getting passed around. And what I realized was, like, back then I'd walk into the these luxury shoe stores, and it was all kind of embellished shoes. And I'm like, there's a financial center opening up. There's office buildings. Women want comfortable shoes, super elegant, and they don't want to wear crystal at 9 a.m. And so I was like, there is a gap in the market. And I know, because I knew all these luxury brands, I'm like, you need to have like the classic seasonless collection here. You need to incorporate that. So I started writing my ex-colleagues back, nothing formal, just going, listen, they're missing X, Y, and Z. I think we need a little bit of customer training here, because they really need to understand a luxury consumer should be able to go to any store in the world and have the same experience, the same experience with just a twist of a regional touch, right? Like just a little bit of a regional touch. And so my name started getting passed around. And I started doing it like, because I was in Dubai looking at this house, working on the house. And finally I get a call from Tiffany's in New York. And they're like, we heard you have a luxury consultancy firm. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, we got your name from X, Y, and Z. And we heard that you've been kind of just really helping these brands, giving real insight. And essentially what I was doing was I was the bridge between the local part, like the franchise partner, and the offices that were in New York or London or Paris, or Italy. And they were like, listen, we're going to be the first opening in a mall called Dubai Mall, which is going to be the world's largest mall. Huge. We're right in the front. We're right at the entrance. We want you to do the PR, like train the staff, just advise us on what to do. Like it has to be, very elevated. And I remember at the end of the conversation, he goes, what's the name of your company again? And I remember just sitting there literally in my dining room going, and I used kind of like my middle name. I was like, R&Co, Bespoke Luxury Management. I put the phone down, called my lawyer on the other line going, you need to register this company. And I started, and that's kind of how R&Co started. And it started as like a PR, like a kind of luxury PR showroom. So we were the first showroom in the Middle East. And they'd never seen like sampling, how I have samples. So they'd never seen sampling. So we created a beautiful showroom. We had samples of everyone from Tiffany's to Christian Louboutin to, Cara Ross at the time. It was just a place where editors could come in, borrow, sign out, celebrities would come. And so we were the first ones to do that. And I think that's, kind of how we got that attention.
What are you most excited about at the moment?
I am excited about, I'm starting a new business.
Ooh.
So I'm excited about that.
Is this official?
Yeah. I mean, I love chatting with you. So yeah, I'm starting a beauty brand. It launches in the spring. So I'm working on that. And again, it's like, it's really about, it's not just anything. I think for me, a lot of it has to do with how I personally make my money, is either being on stage or presenting or filming. And I've always kind of been in that beauty sphere. So whether I'm working for a brand or doing PR for a beauty brand, or working behind the scenes, people would always ask me questions. And I love makeup and I love exploring and experimenting. And so I started getting asked a lot about beauty. And so I just thought I'm going to create this kind of little capsule curated collection.
And is it skincare? Or is it's
makeup? Beauty. It's makeup first.
Oh, amazing.
And then hopefully if it goes well, like skincare. But I want to team up with with a dermatologist or someone that I trust, because I love skincare.
But today I want to talk about your personal style.
Yes.
Your likes, dislikes. And so we're going to go on a style journey together. Describe what you're wearing today.
It was literally raining this morning. So I wanted to kind of...
cold.
Yeah, it was cold and rainy. And so... I'm wearing a Dior suit. It's a knit suit. I actually love this because you can wear it in so many ways. You can wear it with jeans. You can wear it with black trousers. I feel like it was actually a really good investment. I got this in Paris. And I like the midi skirt length. It covers the knees. It's quite modest. And so...
But you grew up in Canada.
I grew up in Canada,
And would you say you were exposed to fashion at a young age? Was your mother into her fashion?
So, initially when I said I was an accidental entrepreneur, when I was 40, I was asked to speak at Parliament here at the House of Lords for Women's Day. And it was honestly this incredible honor. And they asked me to kind of reflect on my life. And it was just, again, it goes down to these like pivotal tipping point moments. And I remember it was March 6th. My birthday is March 13th. It was the year I was turning 40. And the whole time, every interview I'd ever done for the past 15 years has been, oh, I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I'm an accidental entrepreneur. Fast forward, I'm preparing for my speech at Parliament. And I realized, I look back on my life and I'm like, my parents immigrated from East Africa to Canada with 2 suitcases. One for my sister, one for my mom. My dad was in the UK. He was studying here, working here, kind of going back and forth to East Africa. Everything happens with Idi Amin in 1972. My grandparents decide that all the siblings, so all their kids, should go to Canada and start to rebuild their life. You rebuild your life and you have to be an entrepreneur, right? Like you're starting from scratch. They gave up everything. And so I watched my parents build from a suitcase each to build where they are now. And I give so much credit to my mom because she literally was raising 3 kids, helping my dad. He had he was an accountant. He had started this property portfolio, running around back and forth. I mean, to me, she's Superwoman. And so I started seeing that for me, I'd never grown up in an environment of 9 to 5. I didn't know what that was. Yeah. Most of the time growing up, like I saw how hard my dad worked. He'd come home at 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. Sunday was one day that we were not allowed to, even if we partied late, the day before, we had to be for Sunday breakfast, Sunday lunch, family lunch together. And that was my dad's time to recap the whole week of what my brother and I, were going through. And my sister at that point had I think she'd gone to university. She was older than us. And so I think when you're around that environment, you start realizing that you're a sponge, right? You're seeing how, that's how my parents were. I look at my uncles, most of them, majority of them started their own businesses as well due to circumstance. I look at my experience with Tom Ford. I think he's an entrepreneur. He was vice president of Gucci Group. He was creative director of Saint Laurent. He knew how to hire. He knew how to manage staff. He was an entrepreneur. And so everyone I'd ever worked for, even when I went to Juicy, Pam and Gala, entrepreneurs, founders of Juicy. The CEO at the time was Angela Ahrens, who, ended up going to Burberry and then Apple. I was around dynamic people. I mean, I literally knock on wood because I'm like, what to be at a young age surrounded by really the most incredible mentors, the people, the best in the business. And I was young, so I was just absorbing.
And do you remember what your mother was wearing? Was that important to you at the time?
I just remember my mom would always come down with black kohl eyeliner. At breakfast, she'd always have her eyeliner on. Most of the time, a really nice red lipstick. And that was kind of her look. Very polished. It's funny because my mom likes me being very preppy. If my mom could dress me in anything, it'd be very J. Crew. You know what I mean? Very I was in Ralph Lauren since I was young. My parents loved that look on me, the polo shirt, the khaki pants, the white trousers, loafers, that was my look.
And I don't see you in that now.
I do wear it, but it's I'm just my parents love that kind of classic look. Sometimes they'll be like, "What are you wearing?" They'll look at me and they're like, "What did you do with your hair?"
But what ignited your passion for fashion?
So my parents' first business was a corner store. And my dad's corner store, and I was really young. My sister's 11 years older than me. And that corner store had everything. It had W Magazine, it had Town and Country, it had Vogue, it had Harper's Bazaar, and that's all I needed in life. Heaven. It literally was heaven. And I think I was more attracted to that fashion photography because it was beautiful outfits and everything was just polished and everything was just perfect.
And aspirational.
And just I was obsessed. Every month I'd go in there and just take these magazines. I was obsessed with the original supermodels. And then having an older sister helped as well because she loved fashion. My sister, I'm 5'4" and a half. I'm going to take that half. And my sister is gorgeous and, almost 5'8". And she just had this, whatever she wore, she just looked perfect, and she was older. So she had the high heels and I'd go in her room and wear the high heels. I remember I'd get in so much trouble. She had a shelf with perfume and she'd have those Estee Lauder perfumes and I would go mix them.
Oh, great.
And I got in so much trouble, I remember. But I loved beauty and fashion. And I remember once in a while, I'd take the magazines and hide them in my closet. And when we moved from that house I was in, I remember in the corner we were packing and my dad found all these Vogues, which I now kept because they're literally every supermodel on the cover. But I think I was so attracted to that, the glamour.
Do you remember your first memory of clothes having an impact on you, putting something on that just made you feel different?
Yeah. So my mom got me a sewing machine at a very young age. And so I remember I was in Girl Guides and the uniforms were really expensive and, you had to buy all the stuff. So she'd buy the uniform and they're like, nope, then you need the jacket, then you need this. And my mom's like, let me just sew it for you. And so she started teaching me how to use the sewing machine. And again, because I loved fashion, I would, whatever my allowance was, I would buy things. But then I was like, okay, A-line doesn't look good on me. So I would sew. And so I would take the main part of the dress and just always tweak things. And I think that just started from a very young age.
Do you still amend things that in your wardrobe now?
100%. I can't live without I have 3 tailors on speed dial.
Now, you travel around the Middle East quite a lot. How do you feel when you put on a hijab?
Oh, I have the most beautiful abayas. I love them. I always say this as well. I'm very lucky to have friends from so many different nationalities, and I love learning about cultures. And I attribute that a lot to being in Canada as well. Like growing up, we never asked each other where we were from.
Pot.
It was a melting pot.
Yeah, I found when I travelled to Jeddah,
Yeah.
I found wearing an abaya incredibly
Elegant,
freeing
yeah.
and very beautiful.
And the way it drapes
Yes.
and different fabrics, and there's such incredible designers out there.
And watching different women in Jeddah wearing different abayas,
Yeah.
and
And how they
literally-
style it.
and how they style it, and how they wear it and
Yeah.
drape it and hold it.
Yeah.
I actually found it very, very hypnotic. It was just beautiful to watch.
I find it so elegant.
Yeah.
And now there's so many incredible young designers, being more experimental with fabrics and prints. And so it's just a different way to, clothing is a way to express yourself.
What's the sexiest look on a woman in your opinion?
To me, how a woman carries herself, to be honest.
Yeah, no,
That's to me, it's her aura. It's how she walks in a room. It really doesn't have anything to do about her clothes unless she really wants to convey something that's super revealing. But I always look at women, and I love looking at how people style something, like I get inspired by the way people style their own clothes and how they have this kind of, everyone has like a look to them, you know? Yeah.
So if I were to ask you to describe your style DNA in 3 words, what
Yeah.
3 words would they be?
Feminine, classic with a twist of trend. Does that count?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Now, last year you got married.
I did.
I am dying to hear about how you went about choosing your wedding looks.
For the actual wedding in Paris, I chose Rosemin. He's a Pakistani designer, so talented.
And this is for your lehenga.
For my lehenga. And
That was sublime, I have to say.
He was sublime. And so I didn't want to take a chance with working with designers just to say I'm wearing X, Y, and Z. I was like, I want to choose the friends that know me, the brands I wear all the time, that I feel confident in, that want me to look the best on my day, that are going to be there on my day. And Faraz was there with me. And I remember just doing the fittings. I think we had 3 or 4 fittings for that lehenga. And he just knew me. I didn't even have to explain.
Now, it was encrusted. Was it very heavy?
It was very heavy. Actually, I'd never worn the veil. The veil was very heavy.
Wow. And then you had that beautiful, was it detachable cape?
So that was actually the veil.
And right.
Yeah. And then after we kind of welcomed the guests before they went up the stairs, and then he clipped it on my shoulder.
That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It was so beautiful.
And can we just talk about the necklace that you were wearing?
My husband has very good taste.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, maybe it was fairly mega.
My husband has exceptional taste. So I'm very lucky.
A wedding prezi?
It was.
You are one lucky girl.
And then the actual dress on the wedding day
Yes.
at Jardin Bagatelle was Tamara Ralph, who's been my friend for 15 years. And again, I didn't even think twice about it. I just called her with the news I was getting engaged. I got engaged. And then I was like, you have to do my wedding dress. She's like, of course. She showed me 3 sketches. We were in Monaco.
So this is post Ralph and Russo.
Post Ralph and Russo, yeah. And so I went to Monaco. She showed me 4 sketches. And within seconds, measurements were done. Again, because she knows me, she knows my style, she knows my taste. It was beautifully tone on tone embroidery, so classic. Her finishing is exceptional. Yeah. Her course, she's a queen of corsets, but so discreet.
So you felt structure. Very in it.
I felt very in it. I felt, it was such a beautiful piece.
You could tell from the pictures that you felt really, it was a big dress, a very grand dress, but you could tell you felt very relaxed in it.
I did. I enjoyed it. And once I took the kind of bottom, part out, I was dancing in it all night. And so it was just a beautiful, it was long sleeve. It was just off the shoulder. It was such a pleasure to work with designers who really want the best for you, and we're on the day. Like Tamara was there on the day with me. Faraz was there on the day. Pungu was there, flew in from Dubai. Like they were all there for me. Daniela was there for me. And so it was so nice that they want you to look and feel the best on your special day.
Of course, of course. Now, I often talk about clothes being our armor.
Yes.
Is that, and that we message through them.
Mm-hmm.
Are you conscious of doing that?
Oh, for sure. And the older I get, and that's why when I talk about like classic clothes, and maybe because I have been in fashion, so I understand the construction and the design and the craftsmanship that goes behind it. But I would rather invest in great pieces and have them last in my closet. Like I pulled out Oscar de la Renta dresses from 10 years ago, and like they're just beautiful and they're timeless and they're elegant. And all I do is just kind of switch the shoes. But it's just the construction and the design are just so chic and elegant. So I like looking in my closet and wearing things over and over again.
Now, this is going to be a challenging question. Mm-hmm. If I were to say to you, you could only dress in 2 brands, one designer and one high street, which would these 2 be?
Oh, that's
horrifying
that
to you. I can see.
I don't know. I kind of go through waves of like, I went through this kind of whole Valentino wave recently.
So right now, at this point in your life?
I'll tell you one thing that I have in my closet, which I've accumulated happily for years, are Chanel blazers. And I've had them for 25 years. Like I look back, I have ones that I just literally have one rail of just Chanel in my closet. And I love looking at the construction and the chain at the bottom that keeps the weight down. Like, so I feel like, I try and get something maybe every season, but I pick stuff that I always have and I wear over and over again.
Now, do you have a style icon?
I think at first, particularly if I say style icon, to me, it's Jackie Kennedy, Jackie O. I love her. But I appreciate women with great personal style. And so to me, that's the question I want to answer, because that to me is Erin Lauder, Tory Burch. I like Olivia Palermo, Queen Rania. I find so timeless and elegant, and she carries herself and dresses, perfectly as she, like as she's in this role, and soon to be grandmother. Like she's just so chic and elegant, and she wears everything from caftans to, suiting to jeans. And then for me, my ultimate style icon is Jackie Kennedy.
Is exercise and fitness an important part of your regime?
I wish I was, and I wish I could say yes. I will say I did start getting into Pilates recently, as in like the past 5 years.
Now you're constantly being photographed. What is the secret, do you think, of the best images for you?
So for me, I like my face. I hate my nose. I always have. So for me, like I like my face tilted a little bit to the side rather than kind of a straight on image.
Now, hang on. I hate my nose.
I know.
Can we just talk about that for a second? You've got the prettiest little ski jump nose. Yeah. Tiny.
I hate my nose. But I think like when I take pictures, I was like, okay, I kind of like my side profile. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the secret is to...
We just talk about tweakments.
Yes.
Would you? Have you?
Yeah,
what's your view on it?
Are you talking about like Botox? And yeah, like I also think it's each to their own. I'm 44.
Looking amazing, by the way. Flawless skin.
Thank you. But I also think that like I know my skin is acne prone. Like it always has been. I used to have really bad cystic acne, and so until I really, started taking care of my diet, started taking care of, being really strict on my skincare, doing regular, because I travel a lot. So for me, like I have to do a facial a month just to kind of make sure it's hydrated and cleaned. And so when I started realizing taking care of my skin, you actually really don't need much going forward. So I do believe skin texture is the most important. And really, yeah. Then as soon as I started cutting out dairy and a lot of refined sugar, I just started seeing my skin started clearing up, controlling my stress levels. Sleep is so important. And yeah, so I've done a few things, but I only go to the same kind of few doctors, and I trust them. And to me, they're artists because I just think you have to really understand about proportion of the face. I like having lines, I want movement. I film a lot. So if I'm presenting, you need to have expression. The audience needs to know that you're looking at them and engaging in them. So I think a tweak here and there is good.
What is the one item of clothing that means the most to you?
I like my that lehenga and the dress Tamara designed are in beautiful boxes. I hope to kind of give that to my kids just to kind of hold because it has so much memory. Christian Louboutin named the Rosemin shoe after me, which is cool. So I feel like that's, 2 pairs that are in a box, like those are a beautiful memory. There's just little things where you just have these great moments. And so I just feel like working with Christian for all those years, and seeing that shoe, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And so that's kind of in my little box.
I mean, do you archive your clothes?
I don't archive per se, but there's few pieces that I have like one cabinet that is just for these kind of special pieces that I want to keep forever.
Talking about travel for a second, do you have a particular travel look?
I'm trying to remember this brand. It's like this Italian cashmere brand. It's kind of everywhere.
And will you wear that through the airport?
That's my travel look. I always wear kind of one color, but I bought it in like black, navy, and like beige and cream. So that's kind of my travel. I'm always cold, so I'm always freezing in the airplane. So I find this is like it has like a crew neck and I kind of layer and it's just chic and polished.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Are you a light packer or a heavy packer?
Oh, my husband would like to wish I was a light packer. A heavy packer. But also, I don't know about you, but I dress for my mood.
Yes.
No one can predict this London weather. I'm sorry. This is crazy. You can have 4 seasons in one day. It's crazy.
Yeah. So
a lot of times I get frustrated when I'm traveling somewhere and then I'm like, oh, I wish I had this dress, or I'm not in the mood to wear, I'm in the mood to just wear black, or, I'm in the mood to wear color and I don't have that. So I always try and have at least an extra few as a backup. Not too crazy, but just an extra few.
And luggage? What luggage do you use?
So I have this crazy phobia of my luggage getting stolen.
Me too.
So I
am paranoid
about it. So I have the air tags. When you see my luggage, it's a hard shell. There's literally ribbons on it because I want to spot it from a mile away. And it literally has happened to me where people, at the end of a 16-hour flight or wherever it is, people are tired. You just want to go to your home or your hotel. And so it's happened to me twice where someone's accidentally taken the luggage, and it's not out of they literally either I spot them halfway and I run, or they call me.
What brand of luggage is it?
I don't even think it is. There's no, I think Delsey or something. I mean, my carry-on, I will say, is I have a Goyard carry-on. I did invest in a nice carry-on. I take that with me everywhere. But my everyday luggage is, I don't want someone to steal it. I don't want black luggage. I feel like there's so many black suitcases people take. So
it feels like good luggage now, as in hold luggage, is a complete liability.
Yeah.
It's got sort of steal me written all over it.
Yeah. So my luggage isn't expensive. It's I like the hard case. They all match, but I have literally ribbons on the top. I have my air tags in them. And I've had it twice where someone accidentally just took the suitcase. And so I don't want black luggage because I feel like it just gets lost amongst it.
Let's talk about your approach to sustainable fashion for a second. Any brands in particular that you feel are addressing sustainability well?
I mean, Stella is just, love her, the queen. I interviewed her and spent a lot of time with her actually during COP28 in Dubai. And what she's doing, not only as a brand, because I remember she was I've known her now for 20 something years, but when I saw her in Dubai, even her giving her a platform and investing in these incredible entrepreneurs around the globe that they brought, and I think they called it the Stella Marketplace or something, where everyone was just doing the most incredible thing with apple skin and just random
and mushroom leather
and just explained it so well. And I think she's such a visionary and such an incredible voice for sustainable fashion and really a mentor to so many young designers and technicians in that field. So to me, I love what she's doing. And
But your business consults with luxury brands.
Yeah.
And how do you feel that luxury brands are actually addressing this issue?
It's incredible. You take a company like LVMH, then that's the top tier. They have a whole sustainability department, and which is great because then they use their research, their resources, and feed it into all their brands one way or the other. So I think at every point, it's a conversation that everyone has to address. But you, the consumer, at the end of the day, it's your choice where you spend your money.
Yeah.
Right. So I that's why when I look in my closet, yeah, the dress is expensive. It is. Like I love beautifully well-tailored things. But I give you that example of these Chanel jackets. I've had them for 20 something years, almost 30 years. I even have like my sister's, old kind of cool oversized ones because they're so beautifully constructed that they last.
What do you do with your clothes when you've had enough of them, though?
The ones that I kind of take out or I kind of edit from the closet, I have a lot of cousins that are girls. So I put it in a suitcase and it goes to Toronto and my cousins get first option on them.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. And I donate a lot. Like I always have one kind of thing. It never goes in the garbage. It literally goes to women's shelter, Dress
And
for
is
Success.
that in Dubai or in London?
Because all my stuff is pretty much in Dubai. Yeah. But it either goes to like a charity or it goes to, within my kind of extended family. Yeah. It goes somewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, as an influencer with a very engaged audience, do you find you've got a revolving door of exquisite gifts from brands wanting to be featured? How do you handle that?
So I always tell brands, and I think brands get really surprised, like very generous and kind, but I always message them and they're like, oh, can we, have your address or can we go have it to your office? And I'm always like, give me 3 options or show me the lookbook of what's available. And I was like, let me choose because I'm like, 1, I'll be happy to wear it. 2, I'll be happy to talk about it because I can actually wear something that I love. And 3, chances are it's going to stay in my closet if it's something that I choose. And I think a lot, and even for like beauty, I get a lot of, people send me beauty things to review. I'd rather them be like, okay, Rosemin, this is the color chart, or these are your colors, or go to the department store. It just launched. Let me know what, get tested, or, give me 3 shades to choose from. But like you sending me a shade that is like 5 shades lighter, it's how am I going to review it or wear it or talk about it? And I love sharing new things or discoveries with my followers and friends and family.
Do you ever buy vintage?
Yeah. I mean, there's like there's so many pre-loved stores and vintage stores here.
What's your favorite?
I think a cool bag.
Let's spin on some quick fire questions.
Yes.
What fashion advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Don't waste your money.
Which fashion trend would you most like to see make a comeback?
I do like the 70s vibe of like maxi dresses and, that kind of caftans, but super chic, something you can take to like that kind of effortless wear. I love what JJ is doing with Double J. So I wear a lot of her stuff. Like that's the other thing. Like they're just easy. Like to me, I pick up her dresses. I can wear them with flats. I put them with heels. I can take them from day to night. Great price point. Like, so I love what she's doing. And so, yeah.
Your last impulse buy?
A Chanel bag.
Views on tattoos?
Not for me. It's not for me.
Grooming or well-being treatment you couldn't give up?
I can't give up my manicurist. I can't give up my colorist.
High-end or high street?
High-end for craftsmanship. Investing in things that I know will last.
Crocs, cute or puke?
Not for me.
Sports luxe or rock and roll?
Probably neither, actually. I don't really.
Sneakers or stilettos?
Stilettos, yeah.
Bodycon or boho?
I don't wear anything super fitted, so I'd have to probably go boho.
Trilby or Tracy?
I don't know. I'm kind of going for his, like, I like this Philip Tracy. I always find him so creative. And I just think he's really talented. And
he's brilliant,
yeah.
Trend or style?
Style.
Color or monochrome?
You know what's funny is I rarely wear black in Dubai because it's so sunny. I wear so much color, but the minute I come here, I'm in gray, black, beige. So I think it really, that answer
match the clouds.
Yeah, like I feel like if I'm wearing something bright in London and it's like raining, it looks, yeah. So it's very much depending on where I am.
you are. Pattern or plain?
Plain.
Hoarder or editor?
My husband would, and probably my mom would say I'm a hoarder.
Shapewear or lingerie?
I do love good skims. It did change my life. It smoothed out like that. Whatever she's done in those shorts
There
or
is
whatever.
nothing to smooth, by the way. Bikini or one piece?
One piece.
And finally, my traditional last question. At the end of the day, what do you or don't you wear in bed?
I love good pajamas or like really good like silk, like beautiful silk kind of slip dress kind of. And that's
brilliant. Rosemin, thank you so much. It's so lovely to reconnect.
I am so happy to be here.
Really, really wonderful to see you. And thank you for your really eloquent answers.
No, thank you for having me.